Hello and happy weekend. We are coming into our weekend again. And so, our weekend, coming into that weekend again. And this week has actually gone by very quickly. It has been a fast moving weekend. The energies move fast until today. Today, it's as if everything just kind of slowed us down and put the brakes on. And it's kind of in where we've come through, or we're coming through the back end of the new moon. So we're in the back end of the new moon energy. And today it just feels as if the brakes have gone on. We have been slowed down. We're in a different energy. Things are different. And life is different. For what it's like, life is different. Something has changed. I can't put it in the words yet. Don't know exactly what it is, but I did record the energy update for the new moon and for the week, and that is for the weekend, and that one is now available on YouTube, right? So if you're on YouTube right now watching this, then just go to the video before this one. If you're not on YouTube and you're on my Facebook, go to my YouTube channel. Lots of videos there. So the reason why I'm sharing on Facebook and on YouTube in a separate way is because the Facebook videos apparently are all deleting within 30 days now. So none of my videos are being saved. And so, I mean, I have a very large catalog of videos, but on YouTube, all of my videos are there. So I'm putting it in both places. And so you can see it. And so this is a weekend reading that I'm going to do along with the energy update that I did yesterday, where I'm connecting to the energy. I'm communicating to the energy. Now I'm going to communicate and connect with the oracle's energy. And so what the oracle has to tell us. And now you've probably seen all of my energy updates that I post on Facebook that are written. Those are also now being posted on Substack. So I have been slowly but surely creating my Substack. I got to put in all the links, so it's not fully there, but it is there. So you can follow me on Substack as well. And Substack, I will have a lot of my writings and those things in there as well. I set it up like months and months ago, but really didn't get to it. But we're going to get there. We're going to get there. So if you're feeling like today you're not getting ahead, be kind to yourself. Be gentle. It is the energy, and it is kind of slower moving. It's like the boat that stops going in high speed and we're in the waves of the ocean, and we're just kind of bobbing back and forth, like we're just coasting along. The sails has been put down, the motor's been shut off, and we're just drifting. So we're drifting. We're drifting into a new time. We're drifting into a new energy. We're drifting. So we are a little bit of a drift today. So if you're scattered, if your mind is scattered, if you can't seem to get organized, or you just kind of like feeling like you got all these big plans, but nothing is working out, then you're here drifting. You're welcome to the drift. You are in the drift, and you're in the drift with me. So welcome. It's a place that can kind of be frustrating sometimes. I've been productive with a lot of things today that really didn't really matter, but I got done. I bought a new table a few days ago, and not new to me table that I bought on Marketplace, and it's such a beautiful table. And today I decided to open it up and put the pieces all together, and then kind of clean out all the crevices, and because they've had it stored for a while, and clean all the dirt and the dust off. And so I was scrubbing down the table. Like, I was only walking in the kitchen to get a tea. I wasn't going to clean the table, had no intention on cleaning the table, and not at that moment, but yet the tea never happened. The table got cleaned, and the things that I was going to do earlier this morning, the things that I was going to do at that time, like record this video, didn't get done. It just didn't. And I have things on a list of things that have to get done that day. So they only happen when the energy is right. So if you're drifting with me today, then know you're not alone, and know that it's okay. And maybe it has been a lot of energy over the past few weeks and few days. Maybe you're just coming to shore. You're just coming to light. You're just finally finishing a journey. Like, there's an ending of a journey and the beginning of something new. For some of my people who are struggling with, health issues right now, a lot of what's rising is about the energetic healing and about spiritual healing and what's our body is holding on to. And it's trying to release from the body. So it's like if we spend our lives living always holding on to resentment, is that we have a villain in our lives. And so that we have a villain in our stories. We have a villain in our stories. And always being able to keep an identity and a villain in your story always gives us permission to also be a victim, right? And so there's when we decide that we're going to really truly let the villain story go, and vice versa, we're sometimes the villain in other people's stories. But when we're going to release the villain story, it's not about saying that the villain really wasn't the villain. It's about saying to yourself that I am stepping into liberating and freeing myself from being the victim, and I'm not going to continue to victimize myself by continually living with the hate, the resentment, the anger, it could be envy, it could be jealousy, it could be that, what, here they did this and they did that, but yet here they are. I don't know what it is, but that's what I keep getting. And it's like that story, releasing that story. And the other one that's coming up for me is the ability to use others as your reflection. Like, that's what I'm getting. The ability to use others as your reflection. So if you look in at someone else and you create a narrative to the life you think they're living, and then you project like some sort of emotional response to this, or some sort of like why them, and why do they have that, and like never really being happy to see somebody else get ahead. And when you see somebody else getting ahead, instead of being inspired by it, you're angry about it, or you're jealous, or there's an envy to it. And you're trying to tell yourself you're not jealous, you're not envious, but yet you're criticizing where somebody else is. That you somehow look in and you're judgmental that they are at a specific place. And then the comparison game happens, and somehow you're comparing, and there's this comparison that's happening in your thoughts, or in your unconscious but conscious awareness. And so you're aware that you're being judgmental. You don't even associate that it's actually to do with like an envy, not associating with the fact that you would ever use the language of being jealous, but yet there is a jealousy, yet there is an envy. And that jealousy and that envy is a lower energy. And it is the thing that kind of then stirs that pot of kind of why them. And so it's where judgment, and we place judgment into what we are experiencing. But we have to call it out, and you have to call yourself up and out on your own. It's like, yeah, I am jealous. I don't know why I'm so jealous. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of this. I am envious. Why am I so envious? And I'm probably envious because, they're there and I'm not. But that's not their problem. That's not their problem. And they're not in my space, or they're not in where I should be. They're where they should be, not where I should be. So there's a maturity, right? And when we can mature our conversation and really truly expose the lies that we're telling ourselves, is that we can also then free ourselves. But first we got to be honest with ourselves. Got to be really honest with what's really happening. And it's like, you know what? I see where they are. I'm really curious about how they got there. I would love to know how they got there. I would love to know, how did they manage to let go? How did they manage to let go of some of that hurt, some of that pain? So a big thing I share in all of my more than existing and all the posts that I make is you're not alone. These energies are loops, and these energies keep returning and keep coming back so that we can clear our karma, so that we can heal. And so you'll get your next turn around, your next time around, to kind of clear that energy. And so I know what it's like to be there. I know what it's like to sit in that place and just say, it's like, am I always so, why is I can, no matter what I do, no matter how hard I work, no matter what I produce, no matter what I put out there, is still, I'm still labeled the same. It's still not enough. I'm still discounted. I'm still misunderstood. I'm still all of those things. And I traveled that journey. I big time traveled that journey. And I traveled that journey in such a way that I had to really see myself. And I found it in my natal chart. It's all in my natal chart. And it is a truth. So there was a real truth in it. Is that, you kind is that you don't get credit. And so there's so many times in my life where I wouldn't get credit where credit is due. And so I could see why those versions of me would be pissed off. But when I look at the other aspect of the truth that creates the victim, was the thought that, why am I seeking validation from places that really doesn't really matter? The credit has to come from me. And I have to be proud of myself. And so I have to release that villain in my story. I have to release that energy. And the villain is a collective. It's not one specific person. And that was a key for me. It's not a person. It's not a particular person. It's a pattern that I see in my world. There's a pattern, but I had to free it. And I had to change my patterns in order for me to evolve and for me to release the karma and release the energy around that experience. And so there was real, true hurt buried in there. There was real hurt. Absolutely, there's real hurt. And the real hurt is when we internalize that real hurt. And we're always in that, why me? Like, why does that keep happening? Is that we keep creating that internal struggle. And that brings about hurts and pains. It brings about grief, and grief is held like in our chest and our lungs. It brings in issues with our body, and not saying it's the cause of all of our physical pain, but the invisible becomes visible. So resentment, feeling like you got to keep piling more on, like it becomes physical. Something reveals itself in a physical form. And my body just finally gave out and it just collapsed. And so I had to really let go of taking that, and take responsibility for what was mine. And it was my own healing and what I could heal and how I could simply just show up as myself. And so this energy is back again. And so I do speak about that in the other video. And I don't know where all that just came from, because that was not what I was going to speak. So I guess that's what the Oracle has to say. So we'll trust the Oracle is speaking a truth with us today. So we got today is our grace period. Tomorrow's going to kick our ass. Tomorrow is kick ass. Tomorrow is the energy that just says, okay, you had the inspiration, you had the thoughts, you now got the knowing, you now see clearly what you need to do. Now, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? It is the time of where you begin to show up in your own life for you, and you show up for the right reasons. You don't show up because, you think you got something to prove, because who you got something to prove? Most times it's just to ourselves. And so it is where we kind of walk into our own story. It's where we stand up and we begin the journey into really becoming, authentically connected to ourselves. And so what's coming up for me and what I'm getting from the cards. So I just pulled the Six of Wands, which is fire, of course, which is our passion, our desire. It's the celebration. Like it really truly speaks of this momentum that's rising. Now, I did pull the Ace of Cups, and this is speaking about, protected in our new beginnings. So today is the day when it kind of ends, and where the new moon energy ends. And now we're entering into a whole new, I want to say it's like we've been on a paradigm shift. There is a massive shift in energy that has been happening. And it's where we begin the journey with, okay, let's get serious. Let's do what we need to do, but let's really celebrate ourselves. Let's celebrate what we have been through. And, you know, it's like reaping the rewards from that journey somehow. And of course, the Six of Cups coming in is really speaking to the way they're showing me. What are they showing me? Reflection. It's the reflection. And what we're reflecting out is what we're going to get back. So what are you reflecting out? What are you projecting? What are you projecting out? What are you projecting onto others? What are you projecting? And so, you know, what is that reflection? And I just keep seeing, I keep seeing divine protection, and there being such divine protection. And so if you can really truly move into the energy of just trusting that your journey is, you know, your journey is your journey. You'll get there on time. No matter how many times you stop, you pause, no matter how many times you relax into something, you're going to get there. It's going to happen. The sixes tell us that you're on your way to something. We're on our way. Like there's just this, you're hitting on something or you're getting something, but you're on your way. It's like you're so close to, so close to being on the home stretch. So what this is showing me, this would be like the hero's journey. And so when we look at the hero's journey, is you kind of have to leave and go travel and within, like you have to go travel within, you have to go to the inner caves. You got to go to those inner chambers. And in those inner chambers is have to go into the depths of the darkness to find your treasure, to find what matters the most. And in that journey inward is that then you start find your way home. Well, on your way home with your treasure, you're going to meet a lot of distractions. You're going to meet a lot of people who want to see your treasures, who want to know about your journey, and not all have good intentions. Not all are there to celebrate you or to celebrate with you or to celebrate for you. There's always a thief, there's always a trickster, there's always deception, there's always manipulation. And so it is in the story, but it's also those characters are the aspects of ourselves that becomes our thoughts that interrupt us really bringing the treasure home, really being able to get to ourselves. So our biggest thief that we have is our doubt. It's our second guessing. It's that little voice that just says, why would you do that? You should just like put that back away. You should just tuck that back up and hide it. And so then you're like, well, I never can find it again. How come I can't find it again? It's because it's been taken and it's been put somewhere that you can't find it. And so because you believe that it is lost. And so because the trickster energy has put it so far away and now it has changed a bit, is that you don't recognize it. You start to forget what it was like. You start to forget what it felt like to when you felt the inspiration, when you found that piece of yourself in the dark. And then you have this preconceived conception of, well, this is what I think it was like. I remember it being like that. And it's like, no. And if I don't give it away and I keep it with me, if I keep my dreams with me, if I hold on to my dreams, if I hold on to my treasure and I don't crow too loud about it, I'll get there. But I have to be able to ignore the crowd, ignore the noise, get past the noise. And in that is knowing that I'm protected on the journey. And every time that I break free of those boundaries or I let something in, it's because I chose to then do that. And because I chose to do that, then I've let that in. I've opened the door. I've given the space for that to come in. I may have thought, you know, oh, the same people who judge me is the same people that I can share where I'm going with. The same people who tried to, you know, maybe weren't so kind to you. You're like, oh, but I just want to show, you know, they're going to just be so happy for me. No, you're hoping for a different outcome. So you open the door and you let in that energy. And that all happens. It all is real. And so this is, you have the protection that you need. You have to stay steadfast to the direction You're traveling to where you are, to not to be distracted and not to be fooled by some of this other energy that exists, by your own thoughts, by your fears, by your insecurities, by all of those things that have been there, and definitely not by the villain energy, right? Is that you don't become a villain to create a victim story again. It's like if your own little inner villain can destroy that part of you, that you lose inspiration and you lose your sense of self, is that you can return to the victim. So the protection is saying, we're there. Where are you? We're there. There is so much protection. Where are you? And if we're protecting you, you also have to use your wisdom, your knowledge, and your remembering where you have been, what has unfolded, and what really is truth. And so in that freeing of all of that energy, it brings us into a real strong sense of, we're just kind of jumping ship. Like we're drifting, we're just coming close, and there will be a propel of energy again. And that propel of energy is kind of taking us into that final destination, or that final knowing, or that final experience. So there is kind of like light at the end of the tunnel type of thing that's speaking to us. There's something bright coming in that I'm seeing. Now I'm going to shift cards a little bit here for a moment. Feeling the pressure with this one. I'm feeling it all on this side of my chest and down here. And I feel like something is trying to pull me back. And then I feel like this strain of like almost like feeling like forcing my voice. It's real weird. I'm feeling a lot where I'm physically connecting to a lot of really strong energy. That's just, I'm like, I can't even breathe. I feel like I'm smothering. So there's a very smothering energy. So know that it's just, so this is what they're telling me, that if you're feeling the symptoms of this kind of heaviness of the energy, don't take it personally, and don't let it personally take you to a place of where you kind of get into a confrontation that doesn't need to happen, or that you don't be jumping into becoming argumentative or fighting. You may also be feeling the sense of like others trying to attach to your energy or trying to pull you back. You could be feeling all of this. And it's because there is a powerful, forceful energy that is out there. Now, I'm going to say this because this is coming up for me. Now, I pulled Love in the Dark, Shyama. And Love in the Dark, Shyama, is she's not dark. She's the light in the dark, right? So whenever there's dark, there's always light in the dark. She's the light in the dark. Why is she the light in the dark? Because she has integrated the shadow. She has recognized that she too has the potential to be all of the other things that others have been onto her. She knows that. She knows that power. She knows the things that she has done to herself that has allowed her to be her own destroyer, to be her own villain, to be able to manipulate herself. So she recognizes and she can see the shadow. She can see something more. She's in the crone energy. She's no fool, right? She is no fool to the story. She's very aware. Her hands are behind her back because she says there's things you just can't change. But if you were to look real close, all of these trees are actually shadows. And these are shadow lights. And so this is shadows. And so the crow is seeing this, the crow sees the shadow. One has tried to land because it is fooled by the shadow. The other crow is not fooled and recognizes it's just a shadow on the ground and it's not actually a tree. And that it keeps flying to get to the real tree and not to be stuck in the shadow. Because there is an awareness, there is a knowing that there is the illusion and then there's the truth. And so beyond the illusion is the truth. So the one crow was fooled by the shadow. The other crow will not be fooled by the shadow. There is people, maybe around you, who can wear the sweetest of masks, masking, hiding, wearing the perfection, wearing the I'm the champion of the people, or I'm just so sweet and I'm just so good and I'm the good girl and I'm the good boy, and it's like, but behind that mask there is something more. So the shadow they're wearing is the version they are trying to present. It is not authentic, it is not true. But because there is so much hurt, and because there is a why to why they created this persona or put this mask on, is that behind there is a deeper truth. But the truth sometimes reveals, and the imperfections. And God forbid if the imperfections are seen. God forbid if our messy self is seen. And God forbid if someone sees that we are not, it's that we don't have our crap together, or that everything is not so great in life, and that things are not all so perfect in life. Shyama is the love in the dark, is that she can truly see love, and she can love the essence of the authenticity that is messy, that is aware of the shadow, that's aware of some of the fears that we have that reveal itself in probably, getting a little bit messy in our emotions. And when those emotions sometimes get messy, it's like you may appear a little bit crazy, right? You may be having one of those crazy moments of where it's like, she's crazy. It's like, because you just lose your shit. And sometimes you just have to lose your shit. Sometimes you just have to get mad. And that doesn't mean you're gone dark. That means your light is coming. Sometimes you just have to kind of shake shit up. And sometimes you just have to get messy. And that means the light is shining. That's not dark. That means is that you actually recognize a tree for a tree and a shadow for a shadow. And that it's that there is no having the wool pulled over your eyes, not even by your own self. It opens us up. It turns the light on. And so she is shining the light so that we can truly see. And so remembering that she is the love in the dark and the light in the dark, and that she is not the darkness. She's not the darkness, but she's also a part of the darkness. She's aware of the darkness, is that we all have the ability to go dark, to shut down, to go into protection, to reveal a side of ourselves that protects our light. And it's out of love. It's because somebody has to love this part of us enough to protect it, and it becomes ourselves. We become everything that we wish others could be for us. We become that for ourselves. And that's coming up big time in this energy for this weekend. So I'm just going to end with one more card, because it's kind of been like a half hour almost now. And I'm recording on two devices here. So if it looks like I'm looking down, it's because one camera is a little lower than the other camera. But we are getting our butts kicked, and we're getting our butts kicked back into action, and about coming out of the shadows and starting to really step into the light. No more excuses is what I keep hearing. No more excuses. We got to get moving forward. The battle is almost over. And so I pulled the 9 of Wands, and it is the surrendering. Now it did come out in reverse. So it's like probably not ready to surrender, probably not quite right to admit that we have these emotions, and that we felt this way. And that's the messy part. That's the part of where people have a hard time admitting that they feel this way, or that they behave this way, and they're kind of real shady about it and real secretive about it. It's like, no, I would never feel that way. I would never. Bullshit. It's not true. It's like when we can honestly be radically honest with yourselves about what it is, and just say, you know what? Yeah, I have felt that way. I have felt that way. I have behaved that way. I have been like this. and I have chased, I've chased the light, I've chased the imitation light, I have chased success, I've been envious, I've been jealousy, like I've had all of these experiences. I've searched for love in all the wrong places. I've seen the faults in what everyone else does, but I can't see my own faults where I haven't been able to. Now I'm willing. Now I'm a willing participant because I know where this will take me. I know that this journey is about really truly coming home to self. And so the Nine of Wands, flipping it around, is about the ultimate surrender so that we can end the battle, the inner battle that takes place, and that we can stop being distracted by the things that really shouldn't matter at all. And we can get real serious as we are, as the Six of Wands, who's up on his high horse over here. And now he's on the ground. Now he is bowing to his truth. He is surrendering. He's giving that final peace so that he can make peace, to be at peace. And so there is a resolution. We're so close to like the end and the beginning. And this feels like a big emotional kind of journey, spiritual journey. It could be physical as well. It's easy to, think everything would be physical, but this feels like, and because it's coming up with the cups, is that this feels like a big emotional kind of journey, resolution, and it's bringing about change. The way to really truly live within our true light is to see that we all have the ability to have a negative thought, that we all have all emotions, that all those emotions on the wheel, that we can access all of those emotions. But there's a small circle of emotions, and then there's a broad spectrum of emotions. And when we come out into, we can label correctly what it is that truly is bothering, what is the problems. Like sad could be some disheartened, it could be let down, it could be betrayed, right? And so when we can look at the bigger, broader spectrum of the emotions, and we can resolve and heal those emotions in a bigger way, is that we heal on a deeper level. This is cellular healing. This is about us building new neural pathways. And so it's about, rewiring our lives, rewiring our brains, rewiring our thoughts. And this is something I've been doing for many years now. I'm not new to this journey. And it's why that my desire to incorporate everything into my work is just so that so that I can answer the call to what Spirit asks of me. And that is to help people to get it while we're here on earth, to be able to create more of our heaven on earth, and not more of having to wait until we're gone to say, if only. I wish I had known. I wish I had not awaited. I wish I didn't carry that resentment. I wish I didn't live in that pain story. I wish. It's like there is a sense of freedom. And it's like when we can rid ourselves of that guilt and that freeing ourselves, is that we recognize there's something more powerful, but also to allow ourselves to be fooled or trapped by the distractions that try to distract us, or try to manipulate us into seeing that somebody else who's looks similar, lives similar, is some sort of enemy or competition to us, or that we create some narrative or story that puts them in to be the villain or the victim or the villain in our own story. It's like, it is not a truth, and it's not a truth. And unless you're personally living somebody's story, you don't know. And most times the story that we're living and the life we're living and the things that you hear about your past is like secondhand news. You hear about the little person you once were. It doesn't mean that was the whole experience. You're hearing the story that was repeated after the fact. And it continues and it continues and it keeps changing a little bit and a little bit. We got to get back to the original source to find the original truth. Find the original truth, you find the original pain, heal the original pain, and you change everything. You then get to return to the original you. I send you so much love. Have a beautiful weekend, and I will chat with you soon. Much love.